As a massive Saw fan, I understandably responded positively to the announcement that the series would be making a comeback 7 years after it originally concluded with Saw 3D in 2010. Over time, as cast and crew and further details were announced, I grew increasingly optimistic that this would be a worthy comeback. Mark Berg and Oren Kouls would be returning to produce after having worked on all prior installments in the series. Kevin Grutert was back editing after having edited Saws 1 to 5 and directing Saws 6 and 3D, and series composer Charlie Clouser was back too. Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger would be penning the screenplay, series newcomers but having previously written films such as Sorority Row and the excellent Piranha remake, and Peter and Michael Spierig would be directing, the twin brothers behind Undead, Daybreakers and Predestination. And by the way, if you haven't seen Predestination, you need to see Predestination. Finally, actor Tobin Bell, who plays Jigsaw, confirmed his involvement in the new film. It was also made clear from the get-go that this was not going to simply be Saw 8, but a fresh take on the series that would help reinvent Saw for the modern day. The resulting film, titled Jigsaw, had a lot to prove to both series fans and series critics. Does the concoction of talented artists result in a finished product that was worth the 7-year wait, while still also living up to the brief of a Saw for 2017? The short answer, I think so, but let's take a deeper look. 10 years after the death of John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, dead bodies start turning up around the city and a new game has started in a remote barn. Is this the work of an incredibly talented copycat, or has John Kramer truly come back from the dead? On the surface, this would seem like a fairly typical way to continue the franchise. There's still the series trademark Jigsaw traps, the police procedural, the psychological themes, a bunch of characters who aren't being 100% upfront about what they know, a liberal use of narrative trickery around how the story is structured, and of course, several plot twists. But right from the get-go, something felt different. Perhaps the most striking and easily identifiable difference from prior installments is how the film looks. Gone is the high contrast green-yellow grading, with the Spierigs choosing a natural look and feel that combines well with the more rural setting and their refined directorial style. When the film's first scene started, I immediately thought, oh, they've made a proper movie. There's also a distinct move away from the heavy focus on in-series continuity and flashbacks, and while I wasn't anticipating this in spades during Jigsaw, I was surprised how stripped of it ended up being. I'm not highlighting this due to it being a bad thing, more so a noteworthy one and a definite contribution to how much of its own brand new thing Jigsaw clearly wants to be. Even Charlie Clouser's score, arguably the best it's ever been, a personal highlight for me, had a distinctly unique vibe to it, playing around with variations on themes and motifs used before, which fostered nostalgia one moment and fresh excitement for something new the next. Slightly odd comparison, but the film that Jigsaw reminds me the most of is Star Wars The Force Awakens. By this I mean both films feel like big budget fan films made by people who adored the preceding installments who wanted to do their own version that just so happens to be the official continuation of the series. Neither are bad films, and for the record I think Jigsaw succeeds better at what it's trying to do than The Force Awakens did, but because of how new everything feels, it'll take some time to adjust and accept the new story as part of the overall Saw mythos. Now, despite the differences, and in some cases because of those differences, the film definitely works. Is it the best Spierig Brothers movie? No. Is it a perfect Saw movie? No. Is it the best Saw movie? No. I wouldn't even put it in my top 4, but it is a great new take on the material that is much more of a new beginning than it is a final installment. For this reason, I'm hoping for more installments picking up from where Jigsaw left off, as I think as the first part of something new, it's far stronger. Backing up a bit though, everything I've said so far is really from the perspective of a huge Saw fan, making me perhaps a more discerning critic of the film than the majority of others, as there's no way I can't compare it to what came before. But from an attempt to be slightly more objective, I do think Jigsaw is a great movie. For Saw fans, it's a must-see. For those new to the series, it could be a good jumping on point, but I still think it's going to play best as a bit of a love letter to the series, ultimately being a continuation rather than a strict reboot. And I also don't think it's going to change many Saw detractors' minds on the series. I did promise in my Ranking the Saw Films video that I would retroactively insert Jigsaw into that order, but upon seeing it, not only is Jigsaw different enough that the comparison to earlier Saw films feels kind of arbitrary at this time, but the place it would likely come in the rankings would look like I'm less positive about it than I actually am. At the end of the day, Saw is back. It's been a long wait, we've missed you, and I hope you're here to stay. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of Jigsaw in the comments below. Was it everything you hoped for, or maybe not? If you want to support this channel and the creation of other videos like this one, please be sure to check out my Patreon. I'd like to say a big thank you to Patreon supporter Chelsea Myers. See you next time.